What's up guys, it's Paralyzer here, and welcome to Zombies Map Reviews. Today we will be reviewing the map that introduced the Ultimis crew for the first time ever, Shi No Numa. We'll be ranking the map based on 3 criteria: features, replayability, and atmosphere. These are my opinions, so try not to take offense if they don't align with yours. While testing the map, I'll be going for a high round, beating all of the Easter eggs, and also playing a multiplayer game. We are yet again sticking to only the World at War version of this map while reviewing it. This map was released as part of the Map Pack 2 DLC for World at War, and is our 3rd ever map, with the first being to have the Ultimis crew being Richtofen, Dempsey, Takeo, and Nikolai. The map is set at the Rising Sun facility in Japan, where both Division 9 and Group 935 are working together to use the Element 115 meteor nearby to develop weapons and conduct experiments. With the basics of the background covered, let's hop into our first category, features. The first noticeable change on this map is the zombies themselves. They now wear Japanese uniforms, unlike the German ones seen in the previous maps. This is a small detail, but a very cool and important one that makes the map stand out and feel different from the previous 2. This map is also a swamp, meaning that there are muddy areas that stop the player from moving as easily as in other maps. This mud makes the open areas within the map much more difficult to navigate, and it prevents the player from training within them, as although the mud slows the player down, it doesn't slow the zombies. This mud can be really annoying, however I can appreciate that it is a unique and new mechanic that you have to learn how to avoid within the map. Another new feature in this map is the introduction of hellhounds. Every 5 or so rounds, the map will fill with fog, and the dogs will begin to spawn. Completing this round grants the player with a max ammo, but in World at War, these rounds aren't as easy as they sound. This was the first time a new enemy had been added to the zombies mode, and was a great addition as it guaranteed more ammo for the player, which is something people struggled with if they were using box guns, as max ammos from zombies were hard to come by. This map also added a brand new wonder weapon for the first time, the Wunderwaffe DG2. This was the first new wonder weapon to be added, and the second ever after the ray gun. This weapon could only be obtained via the mystery box, and when shot, would chain up to 10 enemies together, killing them all as it deals infinite damage. This made it also the first weapon to deal infinite damage in zombies. There is a risk to this weapon though, as if you are too close to the zombies when shooting it, it can also electrocute the player. Now this doesn't do too much damage, and thus doesn't sound too bad, but there was a bug where if this happened to you while you had the Juggernaut perk, then the perk would just stop working. You wouldn't lose the perk though, so you couldn't rebuy it, meaning on solo if this happened, you were just stuck without Jug forever. There are 2 new weapons in this map, those being the Arisaka and the Type 100. These were added as they are both Japanese weapons, and this map is set in Japan. Both of these weapons are pretty useless, but it was a nice touch to add them nonetheless. This map didn't have a power switch like Verrückt did, but it didn't matter, as unlocking each perk would require the player to buy 2 doors from the main hub area to reach the perk machine. These perks were also randomized, meaning specific areas didn't have specific perks, so you could open up 2 doors and get something like Quick Revive on solo, which was completely useless, and you just wasted all your time opening those doors and wasted all your points. This map also brings back the electric traps from Verrückt, but also adds a brand new trap called the Flogger. This was a big wooden log that when activated would spin around, launching zombies and dealing infinite damage. This map also introduced a fast travel system with zip lines on the map. I say fast travel, but to be honest, they weren't that fast. It was still a cool idea, but the execution behind fast travel wouldn't be perfected until the next zombies map. In terms of Easter eggs, there are 3 radios around the map that can be activated to play some audio giving more details on the story. You can also activate an Easter egg song, just like in Verrückt, but this time it's by interacting with a telephone 3 times in the comm room. The final Easter egg on this map involves interacting with the Richtofen's diary in the doctor's quarters, which triggers an effect of Richtofen laughing. Clearly this map added a lot of new features, and there was plenty of attention paid to the finer details. It still lacks a main Easter egg, but once again, this wasn't even a concept at this point. Overall, I'm going to give Shi No Numa a 7.5 for features. It definitely builds on things from Verrucht and adds a bunch of new unique features. The small detail changes like zombie outfits and Japanese guns are really nice changes. The main lacking feature are of course the Pack-a-Punch machine, any form of boss zombie, and of course a main Easter egg, but once again, none of these had been conceptualized. The only feature missing that had been conceptualized so far was the power switch, but it didn't make a huge difference on this map. Our next category for judgment is replayability. Shi No Numa can be a funny one for replayability. Just like Verrucht, it only has 4 perks total, which obviously reduces replayability due to lack of choice and perk combinations. When it comes to Easter eggs, there's also no replayability value, none of which would bring people back to the map to complete them again. When it comes to high rounds, the camping strategy is very difficult on this map, and there are very few effective camping spots. When it comes to the really high rounds, training is definitely where it is at, and this map has the highest round of any map all time with a round of 11,843 by Uniki. You heard me right, 11,843. This is an insane round, and it's all down to the 24 zombie limit on this map. See, when you high round on the first 3 maps on World at War, there's only 24 zombies per round. Now the health still scales up, but since you have an infinite damage wonder weapon, you can just kill everything using it and breeze through the rounds. This map has a lot of replayability for high rounds in particular, however it can be very boring very quickly, as you basically just do the same thing over and over for 100 hours straight. Overall, I think this map is virtually identical to Verrucht in terms of replayability, so I'm giving it the same score of a 5 out of 10. The final category we have to rank Shi No Numa by is atmosphere. This map is set in a swamp, and to be honest, I've never loved it. It doesn't feel as unique or special as the airfields of Nacht or the asylum of Verrucht. It just feels like a swamp. The mud is a cool feature that adds to the immersiveness of the experience, but it's more annoying than anything else. The biggest plus for this map is that it contains the full Ultimis crew for the first time with Richthofen, Dempsey, Takio, and Nikolai, which makes for great conversation and quotes within the map. As a whole, I just don't think the atmosphere of this map is as good as either of the previous 2, and thus I'm going to give it a score of 4 out of 10. Having a complete unique crew is nice, but this map just doesn't immerse me in the experience or grip me in the same way that Nacht and Verrucht do. That means overall, Shi No Numa scores a 7.5 for features, a 5 for replayability, and a 4 for atmosphere, giving a total score of 5.5 out of 10. This map does make progress in some areas, like with the addition of Hellhounds, along with the all-new Flogger. However, it does fall short in others, like the removal of the power switch, the lack of atmosphere, and the lack of new perks. That's all for the review. Let me know what you think of Shi No Numa in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, then please leave a like on it. I'll see you in the next Zombies video. Have a great rest of your day.